So let's get really real with ourselves. Let's really talk about the woman that we're looking to become and why the things that we've been doing up until this point are no longer working, and what we can do to help our future self and get ourselves to be the woman that we want to be. One thing that I've learned, it's not about waiting until you feel ready to do the things that you want to do. It's about showing up in the quiet moments. It's about building the habits that no one claps for. And it's really just choosing the alignment over the aesthetics. So let's start with something that I've had to revisit again and again, and the shift from proving to becoming. And let's bridge that gap. I used to build my worth on what others thought, and now I validate myself internally. And I find that this season is all about pivoting. And pivoting for me is giving myself permission to evolve, giving myself permission to change. And, I don't owe consistency to the person that I used to be and the version of myself that no longer fits who I'm trying to become. I used to think that being in the process meant being stuck, and that's not the case. You're not stuck. You're not in a position where you don't have answers. Just because you're still figuring things out doesn't mean you're not moving forward. The caveat to that is, if you're not taking action out of fear, that's also still a decision. You don't act because you're afraid, you're still deciding, and you're deciding to stay where you are. You can honor your process and still move forward. And don't confuse slow growth with being stuck, because I feel like I always have that problem. I go really hard, I'm working 12, 15-hour days, and I feel like if I'm not doing that consistently, then I'm not going anywhere. And that's not the truth. It's better to have smaller habits that compound over time than it is to burn yourself out as quick as possible because you're trying to keep up with somebody you're not. And like I said, don't confuse slow growth with being stuck, but also be honest. If fear is holding you back from action, then hesitation is its own form of choosing to stay small. You still have to dream bigger. If you're not happy with your situation, you have to find ways to get out of it. You have to figure out what's the next best step for you. Your best self is not a copy and paste version of someone else's feed. Not what anyone else is doing. It's not what your friends are doing. It's not what your family is doing. We need to learn how to block out the noise. Stop listening and start hearing the stories that you've been telling yourself, the beliefs that aren't even yours to begin with. This is where the real work begins. That's how I'm learning to move forward and to make real active change in my life. I'm learning to let go of the belief that I need to be there by a certain age. There is a certain timeline for things to be done by or to be successful by. I'm done measuring my timeline to someone else's highlight reel. Finally realizing I'm where I'm meant to be because this is my journey. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to want to change, and it's okay to say that who you were 4 or 5 years ago is no longer who you are now. It's important to remind ourselves we're not stuck. You're being challenged to outgrow your current shell. And certain habits I've started to integrate a little bit more, and actually intentionally integrating them into my life. Speaking to myself like someone I love. When I get down, I'm not always the kindest to myself. If one of your closest friends or a family member was talking to you the way that you were talking to yourself, would you be okay with that? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is no. Treating discipline as a daily love to my future self, being intentional with the work that I'm doing, showing up even when it's quiet. And 9 times out of 10, it is going to be quiet for you. And you have to be okay with doing the work in the silence. I think it's okay if you don't know 100% what you want to do. You don't have to have everything figured out, but I also believe that action brings clarity. As long as you're moving and trying new things and working to get yourself out of the situation you're in, everything will line up on its own eventually. You also have to have faith and believe in yourself and the work that you're putting out. At the end of the day, it's not about motivation. You only feel motivated when you feel good. It's about discipline, and discipline is a decision. Discipline is doing what you know needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. If I truly want to make a change, if I truly want to take myself from where I'm at and do something different, I know I need to just show up. Show up no matter what. Build small habits on a daily basis. You don't have to know that this is the career that I want and I want to work here and I want to do this, but you have to show up for yourself. This is meant to be a reality check. I've been unhappy in my position or certain things that I'm doing, but I've also haven't taken any action to make a difference. So I'm making this video for me and for you to say, we can start over at any point in time and not feel bad about it. And for a while, the reason why I didn't do anything about it is because I felt bad about starting over. Take the time to build your empire. And building doesn't mean chasing perfection. It means choosing consistency. And that's where discipline, comes in. You want to be able to choose to be consistent and show up even when things get hard, embodying those values that you're creating for yourself. I'm a mix between soft and tough love because I find that important to be gentle with ourselves when things happen, but I also understand the importance of shit doesn't get done unless you do it. So I'm a supporter of both sides of it. If there's something you want, you need to do it for yourself. That doesn't mean don't show yourself grace when you're going through things. It just means how long are you willing to stay down when you are going through things before you can make a change. Don't let 6 months, 8 months, a year go by and then you look back and think, wow, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have figured out how to do more for myself. The pain of regret of not starting is going to hurt a hell of a lot worse than just getting started to begin with. And like I said, you're in charge of your narrative and what you want to write for yourself in your story. So don't listen to what anyone else says or thinks or what opinions that others may have. They're choosing to stay limited, or they feel inferior because they don't have the same visions for their lives as you do. When I talk about my dreams for the future, I talk about my future self and who she is and what she wants. It definitely, it deters a lot of people when I notice that their demeanor around me changes. You can't listen to others. And if you feel like even people in your circle don't necessarily see that vision for you, you either one, need to think about who's in your circle, or two, just think about, how much you're really willing to say. At the end of the day, you have to see this vision for yourself. Whatever success means to you, whatever fulfillment means to you, you have to figure that out. There's one thing for certain. If you're in a job that you hate, if you're surrounded by people that don't share a vision and you feel out of place, that's God's way and your internal voice's way of saying you're not meant to be here. There's somewhere else you need to go. And I don't have everything figured out, but I sure as hell know that in the last decade of my life of being on my own and traveling and things and the experiences that I've had, I know that you need to see it for yourself before anyone can see it for you. And I'm a big believer in spiritual practices, as you saw. I believe in manifestation. I believe in journaling. It's worked for me. Manifestation doesn't work without movement. And like I said, don't wait. Do the work and align. I do show up even when I'm not sure because I'm the creator of my world. Nobody is coming to save you. The only person that can save you is yourself. And I think it's easy with social media to be overwhelmed by what's going on in the world and by what other people are doing or what you think you need to be doing. But your future self is not overwhelmed by someone else's timeline. Your future self is too focused building their own. I think I'm someone that always struggled with comparison issues because I'm the youngest of 5, and growing up in that kind of environment with having so many people that are so much older than you, see a lot of people that have already had experiences and you think, am I supposed to go that direction? Moving out when I turned 18 and graduated high school so I could find my own identity and find my own voice. The fact that I've taken action and have done the work and I wasn't scared to do things behind the scenes, I feel more adapted and equipped to work through it. And like I said at the beginning of this video, becoming your future self isn't about having it all figured out. It's about becoming a little bit more like her every single day. The woman I'm becoming, she's not perfect, but she's present, she's disciplined, and she's consistent. After what I've been through in these last few years, I'm recognizing that my power has always been within. I just got out of our little rut in the last one, and now we're starting over. This is a clean slate. We're not waiting for clarity anymore. We know that clarity is created through action. If you're in the season of change or in the season of becoming, do your future self a favor and show up today and show up every day, whether it be just a little bit at a time or all at once. Either way, your future self will thank you for starting over and being true to yourself and being true to where you're supposed to be. And like I said, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I do have the courage to start over. I do have the courage to understand and know that what I've been doing is no longer serving me and I'm ready to make a change, take that next step in my life, do things that are more aligned with who I am. I'm giving myself permission to change. I'm giving myself permission to no longer feed into who I was 4 or 5 years ago. I'm ready for this next step. If this is something that spoke with you and you feel like it resonated, leave a comment and let me know what you're working through right now, or if you're starting over, where you're at in your life. We're starting over together. We're pivoting together. Give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one.